As someone who collects retro games, I spend a lot of time reading threads and perusing subreddits within my hobby. r/retro gaming, game collectors, NES. I'm always lurking in the shadows, looking through posts of people sharing their collections and talking about how grading games is a scam. Lately, though, I've noticed a few recurring comments in almost every thread that I come across. Well, I sold my collection 3 years ago and I just bought an EverDrive instead. Yeah, I don't collect anymore, man. I just got an emulator console and I play the games that way. Well, this hobby is just too darn expensive now. Just get an EverDrive. It's a shame that this is now the state of the hobby, but I get it. I started collecting NES games like 20 years ago, and back then, it was a super cheap, fun hobby. You could snatch up lots of like 15 games on eBay for 25 bucks all day. You could walk into any thrift store and find games for $1. It doesn't matter what the game is. It could be Mario, RBI Baseball, Mega Man, stadium events, just get it off our shelves. You could go to any garage sale and find bins of games for 25 cents each. Man, they were just worthless garbage that their kids grew out of and don't play with anymore anyway. It was a fun time, man. Like, I used to spend my weekends perusing multiple thrift stores and garage sales just hunting for games to add to my collection. Not buying up everything a store had so I could resell it for a profit, just grabbing a few that I didn't have yet. It was the thrill of the hunt. But that time is over. People have caught on that these old hunks of plastic have value to the nostalgia-riddled adults that now have spending money and are attempting to fill the hole in their chests created by years of trauma and doom scrolling by just repurchasing their childhoods. I mean, what? No, it couldn't be me, dude. You know the sweatpants and slides wearing ass dudes that camp in front of the Pokemon vending machines that everyone is upset about now? Yeah, man, that's not a new thing. We've been dealing with that in the game collecting hobby for years now. You don't get to go to a garage sale and maybe find a few games that you don't have yet to add to your collection. Someone was there 30 minutes before they were supposed to open, banging on the door saying, listen, I saw online that you're going to have games here. I will buy all of them right now for $150. I don't care what they are. I will take every last one of them. Okay, fine. We'll make it $250. Just go get me all of the games that you have inside this house. Also, do you have any more inside that maybe aren't listed that I could take a look at? I would be happy to buy them right now. I'll buy them for whatever you want. Goodwill decided, hey, you know all this shit we get for free? What if instead of putting it on our shelves, we just make our own eBay and turn a hella profit from it? This is all to say, I get it. This hobby sucks now, and the idea of just grabbing an EverDrive and having the entire library of a console for a fraction of the cost, man, it's starting to sound more and more appealing. I'm not going to get rid of my collection. I personally still enjoy having physical copies of games, but I get why people are sick of it and are instead just turning to downloading ROMs. Now, I'm not going to incriminate myself here and tell you that I download ROMs, nor am I going to tell you where to get them because, that's illegal. But dude, when there is no alternative way to play this game other than buying a secondhand copy for more than I paid for my first car, yeah, man, just go download it. Just go download it. That's almost wild to say out loud because for as long as I can remember, the conversation around emulation has been pretty black and white. In this corner, you've got it's preservation and should be allowed. And in this corner, you've got it's piracy and you're a filthy little thief. Now kiss. Editor, make them kiss. Aw, hell yeah. Nah, honestly, the truth is, it's kind of both. Yes, you are absolutely pirating a game when you download a ROM of Little Samson or the Nintendo World Championship cart, you filthy little thief. You can try to justify it in the comments all day long, but at its core, that is what you're doing. But realistically, who are you stealing from? These are not games that are being sold anymore. The NWC cart was never sold. It was awarded to you for participating in the event or for winning a Nintendo Power sweepstakes. If you download a game that has not been sold for 20 plus years and the only legal way to play it is to buy a secondhand copy on eBay for over $1,000, you aren't stealing money from the developers anymore, you're just keeping money from exchanging hands between collectors. At that point, emulation really starts feeling less like piracy and more like accessibility or indeed preservation. People don't just emulate because it's cheaper, they emulate because it's easier, it's cleaner, it's better. You can boot up your entire childhood library of games between a multitude of consoles in 10 seconds on a single device that fits in your pocket. Save states, rewinds, filters, mod support, no blowing into cartridges, no praying that your 30-year-old copy of a game is still going to work, no hunting, no eBay bids, no resellers, no disc rot, no fiddling with cables behind your TV, no dedicating an entire room of your house to your collection. You just get to play the games. And that's the part that kind of hurts to admit as someone who loves collecting. I love the authentic experience that comes with physical media. I love having oodles of games on display to look at and pull off the shelves whenever I'm bored. It's easy to romanticize it in my mind because back in the day, this shit was just the norm and I just kind of want to recapture my childhood. But now we have options and convenience usually wins, especially with people who did not grow up with this janky technology. It's like, as a collector of rare and valuable things, I don't want emulation to win this war, but it kind of already has. And that is where I think some large companies are completely missing the point. Certain companies, like the Big N, are so vehemently against the existence of ROMs and are working tirelessly to take down ROM distribution sites. I understand this from a business perspective, at least to an extent, but I also think it's being looked at the wrong way by these large companies. I mean, these ROMs exist, and the developers and publishers are technically the legal rights holders, right? But the games are no longer being distributed, meaning downloading a copy isn't meaningfully hurting a company's bottom line. So why not just release them yourself in a cheap and easy way? In fact, Nintendo, listen in here. I have a multi-million-dollar idea for you. Release an emulator console. I know that sounds crazy because you're so against emulation, but hear me out. There's a correct way you can do this, and you almost had it right with the NES Classic. You were so close. Release a new NES. It has two options, a physical cartridge slot that can play all original games, and a wireless connection that allows you to download new games. As many as possible. Every licensed NES game that you can realistically get the rights to, available from the onset. Make a little eShop that has every game and make the UI all retro and cute looking. Make every game $2. You keep $1, the original developer gets to keep $1. And make that aspect transparent too. You are now helping the old developers make a buck on their old forgotten gems that are no longer being distributed and are instead just constantly being pirated. Do you know how many people would buy something like that? I would, in a heartbeat, man. Like, if I could play my big-ass collection on an official Nintendo console as opposed to me having to buy like a Retron HD or something, I would love that. Instead of blindly fighting emulation, maybe it's time to offer a better solution to it. You need to lean into it. It appeases the retro collector like me, and it allows younger generations to actually play some retro games legally and without having to spend hundreds of dollars on single cartridges. The adults that have the money and have the kids, they will buy this so their kids can play the old games that they grew up with. In this day and age, a parent will gladly give a kid $20 to buy a Fortnite skin. You think they won't buy some ROMs from you? Something that has far more intrinsic value than a cosmetic for a free-to-play game? Like, what, is $2 too cheap? Compared to what, people just stealing them constantly? Dude, being able to scoop up 10 games for the price of one Fortnite skin would have you selling 128 kilobyte files like hotcakes. And with how small they are, it's basically an instant download. Start with the NES. Gauge the success of it. See if it is successful. Call it the NES. It can play any NES game. I'm a marketing genius. You know, you could do it again with the Super Nintendo if the NES is successful and call it the SNES. Make the games $4 instead of $2. You can make a handheld that can play Game Boy games or Game Boy Advance games, but also connects to your Nintendo account, allowing you to download any of the games that you already own on your NES or SNES so you can play them on the go. I don't have a clever name for that one. Y'all gotta come up with that. But like, enjoy your profit. Enjoy making a dent in pirating ROMs. Enjoy taking some of that emulator console market share from the companies that are already profiting off of this idea. You're not gonna do away with people downloading ROMs, no, but at least you're offering a solution and you can make a quick buck per game. You have these extensive libraries and people still clearly want to play them, otherwise downloading ROMs wouldn't be a problem in the first place. Cater to those people instead of just trying to shut it down altogether. I mean, hey, we can take this further. You know what else you could do? Develop new games for these systems as well. Have an internal team that just makes new retro games. You got a new Zelda coming out? You could pack in a free download code for the Pixel D-Make that you developed alongside it. Now people might buy that console because you're giving them access to some free new retro game every time they buy a new full-priced game. What's that? Well, what? It's a similar strategy to packing in Mario Duck Hunt or Wii Sports, moves that made you guys insane amounts of money and market share. What? Dude, imagine taking a page from your own book. That's crazy. I'm a genius. Nintendo, let's work together on this, dude. I know someone watching this has an uncle that works at Nintendo. Send this to them and just you know what? Consider this video as now a public business proposal. Get in touch with me, guys. I'll gladly work with you on the project. Like, I'll design the UI and stuff. You may just give me like $1 for every unit sold and like 5 cents from every download, and then I'll just retire off the royalties. All right, so that fun idea aside, like, listen, I am not a hail corporate, Nintendo can do no wrong, think about the $1 million company shill, but I'm also not super thrilled about the state of retro collecting and piracy in general. I think it's almost a necessary part of the hobby, even if it is technically illegal. But at the end of the day, it is illegal and that sucks. This is what we need, if not my NES concept, just some way to bridge the gap. A happy medium that'll make both the hobbyist and the license holders happy. Think about the current hellscape that is streaming services. It's a garbage can of an industry now, sure, and memes are popping off about how sick of it people are and they're going back to pirating movies and just buying physical media, but for a time it did help curb rampant piracy. It didn't stop it, but plenty of people opted to pay for a legal avenue to watch movies and TV shows. Music, dude, I grew up in the 2000s. I was no stranger to LimeWire or torrenting discographies, but you know what? A lot of people don't pirate music anymore because alternative, affordable solutions came out that made it unnecessary. Now it's all there ready to be streamed legally without consequences for like $13 a month. And man, I'll tell you what, I get my money's worth out of Spotify every month. I'm just saying, if it worked for music and it worked for TV and movies, perhaps it's time that we take a look at what a service like this could do for game piracy. A real service, not a drip feed you a few games every month with a yearly subscription service, an actual solution. People don't pirate because they want to steal, they pirate because a better solution doesn't exist. And until that better solution does exist, people will continue to just keep finding their own, whether companies like it or not. Alright, that's all I've got for this one. Thanks for watching as always, and hey, I see you watching this video, Jimmy Smith from Redmond, Washington. Get this video to your uncle at Nintendo so I can become a millionaire. You know, let's go, dude. I'll cut you in on it. I'll cut you in on it, man. Let's get this NES off the ground. Alright, guys, I'll see you in the next one.